Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Melissa and we talk about all things plants here. Can you see me behind this fern jungle? Today we are going to be talking about all things ferns. I want to show you my fern collection, of course, and I am going to tell you a little bit of a care guide about them as well. I have 6 different varieties of ferns here and I want so many more, but let's jump into the ones that I got and how to care for them. Alright, so now that I've moved my jungle away and you can see my beautiful face, let's just start with this one. So this here is my blue star fern. One of my favorite ferns. You know, I have a lot of favorite ferns. I'm going to actually rank these from like best to worst. In my opinion, so stay tuned for the end of the video for that. But this is my blue star fern. It is just a stunning plant. I got this when it was half the size and it has doubled. I've noticed it's like doubled in size, and I think I've had it for probably for sure over a year. I got it at a plant shop, and I guess it gets its name because if you do look closely, the leaves are kind of bluey gray, especially when like they're in the correct lighting. And yeah, it's just a beautiful, beautiful plant. And I find that it's one of the more easy ferns to take care of, because if you know anything about ferns, you either love them or you hate them, because they are one of the most finicky assholes out there. Next up, we have the kangaroo. No, this is the, okay. Next up, we have the crocodile fern. If you look really closely, you can see that the leaves have like a crocodile, like, not texture, but like a pattern, like as if a crocodile or an alligator. And if you also can see, there's this little thing here. A growth point. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's a new growth point, a new leaf. It's not attached to the initial plant. This plant used to be like triple the size, but I got it in this pot and I didn't realize that there was no drainage in this pot. This is a fake drainage, which is mean. And it was sitting in water like all the time. So I had overwatered it. So definitely make sure you're paying attention to that. I find that this one is a little bit more advanced when we're talking about ferns, but all in all, it's a really unique fern in the fern family. My daughter said she wanted to nap, but now she's getting out of her crib. The next one on my list, this one is the kangaroo paw fern. Kind of similar to the blue star fern, but it's a lot more green and waxy looking, and I feel like it's a lot more like jumpy. Let's talk about the humidity with the ferns. Ferns tend to like quite a bit of humidity, but not as much humidity as you may think. A good way to increase humidity is grouping ferns together, making a pebble tray. What I do neither one of those. A couple of them are together, but I mostly keep them in the kitchen around my sink, because I'm constantly like using hot water at the sink, or keeping them in the bathroom because there is a sink there for one, and for two, you're having hot baths and hot showers, especially if you're shutting the door, they're getting that extra humidity. There's no reason to put your ferns, like common ferns, into a There's no reason to put your more common ferns into a greenhouse. You don't need to do something like that. So just naturally trying to increase the humidity around them is perfectly fine. I have 2 seconds because my kid is waking up. This here is probably one of the more common ones. It is your bird's nest fern. It grows from the middle and it just keeps growing. I think this one, it's so cute. I'll try to do a close-up or put a photo here of when the new fronds are unraveling, because they look like little like snake heads that pop out, and it's like one of the cutest things I've ever seen. This fern is probably, like I said, more common and a lot like super easy to care for. Although this one I struggle with. When it comes to crispy edges with this guy, I usually just cut them off and I go on with my life. But all in all, a really fun little quirky fern. I find all ferns are kind of like quirky or different in a good way. Next up, we have the asparagus fern. This one is probably one of my favorites. It's definitely up there. I love how it grows. I love how big the leaves can potentially get. It's so like soft and dainty and velvety. It's such a beautiful fern. The reason why there's some brown spots there is because this used to sit on top of my coffee maker, and one day I made coffee and I forgot to move the plant, so it got burnt. I've never really cut it off. It just exists, but it does snow dead. I don't know what you would call these. They look like slivers to me. But I think this is one of the easiest ferns for sure. And it's definitely one of my favorites. When it comes to watering your ferns, a lot of people think you need to water them. You do. Don't let them dry out. I like to constantly keep them moist. With that being said, I water them about every 3 to 4 days. And sometimes I just monitor how wet the soil looks on top. If it's super wet, I'll only give it like a shot glass of water. But if it looks like it needs some water, then I'll give it a good watering. Peekaboo! This is my asparagus fern. I got this guy at a Costco. Keep your eyes out sometimes because Costco brings in plants. I love this plant, but this is a new frond and it's literally taller than me. I don't like it and I don't like how it is, but I have it up on a high shelf so you can't really, it kind of dangles down. So I don't know. Foxtail ferns are very unique and fun and cute, but I don't like when they get like this. I don't know how to propagate this guy, but maybe I'll figure out how. When it comes to lighting for your ferns, you definitely want to give them a little bit more light. Not like, I don't think they need a full south sun or sitting under a grow light, but as long as they have like a bright indirect situation, they will be perfectly fine. But also do not put them in like I don't think they would survive very well in a north facing situation, so just be mindful of that. But again, this one is so fun. I forgot about one more. I do actually have 2 Boston ferns. They're really big. I will insert a clip at the end of this, but Boston ferns are probably the fern that your grandma and your great grandma and your auntie and your mom have all had in their lives, and sometimes they're like 30 years old. They can get very bushy and big. I have 2 very big bushy ones. People like to put them on their front porches in the summertime. That's another thing. If you live in a colder climate like I do, put your ferns outside. Just don't put them in direct sun. But if you put them in a north-facing situation outside, I think they would do just fine. Especially if you have like a humid situation, they would absolutely thrive in that kind of conditions. So now let's rank them, in my opinion. So I think the number 1 favorite fern is gonna have to be my asparagus fern. I absolutely love it and everything about it. Number 2, I think I'm going to have to go with my blue star. Number 3 is going to be my foxtail right here. Number 4 is gonna be my kangaroo paw. Number 5, I'm going to say the Boston ferns because I just love how big they can get. Number 6 is going to be my crocodile fern. I think this would be a little bit higher if it wasn't so small and I didn't accidentally murder it. And the last one is gonna have to be the bird's nest fern, and I don't know if that's just because of my opinion, because of how well or how not well, unwell that it's doing. I've seen them look really pretty, but I just don't think it's my favorite in my collection, and if I had to get rid of one, it would definitely be this one. Alright you guys, thank you for joining me in today's video on how to care for these ferns and my fern collection. Ferns can be finicky and sometimes they take a lot of time. I'm still struggling with ferns and I was scared of them for a very long time, but I've learned that it's pretty easy once you get the hang of things. Let me know in the comment section below if you are a fern lover or a fern hater, and I'll see you guys next time. XOXO, and then bye!